studio.
Who?
Grandfather, head trainer of Shakur Stevenson, Wali Moses. You know, which is great. I know it is a very busy week for them. Fight week, unification fight. So just want to obviously say thank you to Mr. Moses. Pop.
Coach, how are you? Thank you for coming in early this morning. We appreciate you.
I appreciate you for having me.
There you go. Throw those on. Just make sure to talk into the mic.
Extend the phone. There you go.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you?
All right.
Hold on, you got a feather right here. Let me help you out. There you go.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So, Coach, man, let's start from the beginning. When did you first, I guess, decide to start training your grandson, Shakur Stevenson?
That's crazy. Actually, you know, I used to bake, you know, at nights and whatnot. So,
Bake?
yeah, I was a baker for like 17 years. That's how.
Can you just roll a little closer to the mic so they can hear you?
Well, I'm actually a machinist by trade, but you know, baking is just one of the things I did to support my family coming up. But I would come home in the mornings, and you know, my wife would leave for work, so we were babysitting Shakur while my daughter was out and whatnot. So every day I come up, you know, back in the day, y'all remember when they had USA Boxing would have Tuesday night is the fights, Friday night is the fights, and all that is here. So I'd be watching them every day, day by day, and you know, as Shakur went from his, you know, infant stages to he got to about maybe 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 months, he was watching. One day he just sat up and started punching. We was watching it, you know, and I said, oh, I like that, you know. So at the time, you know, I was doing boxing coach, and I was playing baseball as well. So, you know, what I would do with Shakur is, you know, as he was little doing his masterization, as he's growing up, I would take him in front of the house and do mitt work and stuff with him, you know, get him nice and sharp, keep him nice and ready, let him run around a little, emulate like he's really training. And after that, what I did was, being I was playing baseball, I bought him a baseball bat. So when he got about 3 and 4 years old, he started swinging that bat. From his very first swing, you know, very first pitch, he made contact, you know, and he really missed. So I think between the ages of 4 and 5 years old, I started buying him pitching machines, you know. I bought him the first one, a little pat. That wasn't nothing. Little, you remember, everybody remember the one you step on.
How about you can scoot up, son?
Yeah, and
Yeah, I'm gonna scoot the mic up to you.
after that,
This is good. This is good information you're giving us. Like
You got to get from under the shelf.
okay.
Oh! Travis in the back going crazy.
So after he went through that little first manual thing, I bought him one that little pitched a little faster. He went through that like a hot knife on butter. He couldn't miss that.
so he
Then
can
I
play
found-
baseball.
Yeah, then I found his hand and eye coordination was like special since he been a kid.
So at this point, you have never trained anyone in boxing?
Who, me?
Yes.
I trained hundreds of people
Okay.
in boxing. By that time.
But at this point, he was just gravitating more to baseball.
Well, not gravitate more to baseball, because other than the gym, you say, you know, I played on quite a few teams, so I would be traveling around the country, me and my friends, and Shakur would be with me. And one day I had a few of my other fighters with me, right? And, you know, I had them at the park. They were training while I was playing baseball because they'd come watch my games, you know. So Shakur said, "Ooh, I like that, Pop. I like that." He liked the running, the thrill of seeing them guys running around, seeing them doing the mitt work in the park. So when he got 5 years old, I took him to the gym, and everything else was history. You know, he vastly fell in love with boxing. You know, I got to a point where I took the baseball bat and put the gloves here. And I said, whichever one you're going to go towards, gravitate towards when he's about 5, I'm going to the one you're going to do. So he started walking towards his favorite bat, because we called him Bam Bam, you know, because he carried that bat around all the time. So when he started veering towards the bat, I was like, oh, well, baseball it is. And he made a quick say, yeah. And went and put on the boxing gloves there. And that was it, you know.
Now, So he starts boxing. When did you realize that you had something special in your hands? You know, obviously the beginning, the learning and things like that. But when did you realize like Shakur is going to be something great?
Well, like I said, you know, he had all the signs of a athlete, you know, and you know he loves sports. And when I think he really, what I really noticed, like you know, when he got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, we have a historian, boxing historian, a Hall of Famer, Mr. Henry Hascup, and Henry would always give me these old historians boxing tapes, you know what, and I would give those to my athletes and whatnot. Now, the older athletes were like, Coach, we don't want to see that, man. We want to see Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, Marvin Hagler, and all that. But the thing about Shakur, when I started showing them poems of the old greats, the Willie Peps and all those guys, Sugar Ray Robinson and all them, he loved that stuff. You know what I mean? He loved that stuff. He loved it then, and hey, pop up, you got some more, you got some more. So from that point on and watching those boxing tapes and boxing, he's been boxing ever since, to this day. You know what I mean? He go back over and over, watch it day in and day out. And he came to me one day and said, Papa, he said, this is when he got about 13, 14, he said, I'm married to boxing now. And I said, what? And I never heard that term before in boxing, you know what I'm saying? And so, you know, that really got to me, you know, and let me know that he was really all in. Because, you know, at that point, you know, as you're coming up, you know, kids like to sleep, do their things, you know, you have to give them that little nudge. Come on, man, you got to do this. So when he got about that age, you know, in terms of me having to get him up, to have him run, go to the park, only times that, you know, I made sure that he went on his own when we done the special things, you know, running with the parachutes and all that crazy shit that coaches do with their kids.
Right.
We did it all. So, you know, I think at that point, once he bit in, because it was around the same time, I think, it was prior to that. We had went to a regional tournament, and we had another kid named Shakur Jackson. He was our first Shakur. And I think Shakur lost, George Borges won, Tyshawn Jones won, all these kids won the regional. So his boy Shakur name, but his name is after, he lost. So Shakur came to me and said, Papa, when I come up here, I'm not going to never lose. And guess what happened?
You never lost.
Never lost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, the Olympic run in 2016, you know, there was a lot of talk about Shakur. There was a lot of eyes on him, you know, from Floyd going down. There was a lot of media attention. Comes up short of gold, gets the silver. What was that moment like for you, seeing, you know, your grandson obviously come short of gold, still achieving silver, but just because I know how big of a goal that was and how hard you guys had worked for that up to that moment.
Well,
Talking to the mic.
The Olympic run, to me, and Shakur, you know, in terms of us accomplishments, it kind of tainted our history because, like, you know, from 2011 to 2015, I was team manager, USA boxing coach, and everything that Shakur and I had won, like all the world championships, all the Valdez Cups, all the medals in Russia, we had accomplished that all together, you know what I'm saying? So now, I don't know, I'm still trying to find out what happened in the midst, and, you know, I have a private people investigating what happened with the team, because what had happened, USA Boxing was dispersed at that time. All the people were fired and they bought who they wanted. So the next thing you know, I wasn't on the team. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how it happened or whatnot, how they take the winningest coach in the country, right? Number one, undefeated. We had just won we were the first team ever to win a world team title. And I personally trained Damani Rock, Shakur, and Jairo Gonzalez for that world team title. So we had the best coaches in the country on the team. Now, generally there's what we call a star process, that when you become an Olympic coach, you go through the star process. You're a 1-star coach, you're a 2-star coach, and you're a 3-star coach. And all those stars are obtained through the developmental process of your international competition are you going. So what we had in 2016 was a bunch of coaches that weren't no star coaches. We don't even know how they got on the team, other than that they were selected, you know what I'm saying? So with that being said, that run when Shakur, I wasn't together, was like the first. That was the first international fight that we lost, because Shakur, we won everything. We won the Valdez Cup. We won all. He was undefeated, like 18-0. We never lost a fight. Whether it was in Germany, Russia, Ukraine, Bulgaria, everywhere we fought, he won. So when that happened, and Shakur didn't win that Olympics, like between us, our legacy that we were trying to attain, it tarnished it a bit. And, what really devastated to me is that I wasn't in the ring with him to help him. And you had so many unexperienced coaches, particularly not winning coaches, that were there, So, I think that it really hurt him. And, it takes me down an avenue that one day I hope I can talk with you guys about when it's called is USA Boxing failing its athletes, because at the time, I got some real deep shit to tell you guys about. But look, it started back with that 2016 process, when Teofimo should have been the U.S. Olympic representative because he beat everybody in the country.
But what happened?
Oh, as I witnessed, the USA boxing team, they walked this kid through. We're not going to say why. I don't want to, say anything to, what happened. But they walked this kid through. He was not one of the winningest kids on the team, I think when we were on tour, because what happens is at the end of each Olympic season, right, starts the new season. So, these cats were on the team for like 4 years, you know what I'm saying? And they wasn't winning. This cat was just like walk right through, you know what I mean? The WBS where, the guys that fight in the WBS, they get paid money, and they're not that good, actually. It's like what you call like a farm club, a farm system for boxing, you know what I'm saying? So,
like minor league.
Right. So they walked this kid through, and lo and behold, for example, the same thing happened with me when I was team manager. When we had King, it was the Monty.
Pop out, why you might hit that shelf. Oh, yeah.
It was
Try to scoot some of your knees up under the shelf, and we can always move the mic back away from
He
it.
told you he gonna bring the house down when he come in today.
Yeah.
Plenty of information.
It was a kid called John Luna and Damani Rock. So Damani Rock is a kid from Pennsylvania. John was
Heavyweight.
from Washington. Yeah. So Damani had suffered an ankle injury during the camp. You know what I mean? And
I gotta ask though, when he was training with you, did he have weight issues? Because people say that was always the knock on him, that he was pretty healthy.
let me tell you like this here. I'm gonna be real with you. That kid was one of the most devastating athletes that I've seen in terms of natural ability, because when I first met him, he was at 265, and through the camp, when we went and fought in the Worlds, I got him down to 245. And I seen this kid running sprints, man. Russia, America, the whole USA team. This big kid was the fastest kid on the team. It's unbelievable, a kid that big, you know what I mean? Because we were running a relay race, right? Like it was a 400-meter relay race, and he was the last leg, man. And they was getting whopped, man. And this kid took the baton, man, and you believe it, he came in, he caught everybody. That's when I realized his ability, back then.
Still got the hand speed. But
Yeah. So what had happened was he was injured in camp, and he had an ankle injury, and I'm not going to say this, but everybody knows. We know that number one, boxing is a total minority sport in USA, especially in America. Okay, so now you have now, everybody see what's going on with your blacks, your Mexicans and whatnot, okay? Now, at the time, the team leader happened to be a Cuban guy, Pedro Roca, okay? His assistant was Steve Reeses, another Mexican guy. And John Luna is a Hispanic guy. He looks, he's your color, but he looks like, he's a good athlete.
They call me El Negro at
the barbershop.
They call him
You
that too.
you call yourself that. But go ahead, pop up.
And what happened was they wanted John Luna to go to the World Championships. And by all right, Damani Rock was the one who won the World Team Tournament. So he should have been a representative. So what they did is ask us to write a report on Damani Rock. They didn't ask us to write a report on John Luna, which John Luna was way overweight more than Damani Rock. And what I did, I wrote in my report, you know, I think, you know, if anybody gonna help us, I'm gonna try to help us. So what I did is told the actual truth in the report. I think that his performance was due to the injury that he sustained prior to coming to camp, okay? So what that did it like balanced it out where it wasn't all us going in and forcing this kid out, and John Luna would walk right in and take the spot. So what they did is had the box off, which they were supposed to do, with I don't want to call no names out, with the 32-pounder, the 132-pounder, and Teofimo. I can talk about Teofimo because we was there. But anyway, they did. So when they forced the box off, so they knew I had been training Damani Rock for the whole camp, right? You know, for the years we were there. So what they did is ask me to come in and coach John Luna against Damani. You know what I did? I didn't show up. You know what I'm saying? I didn't show up. And so what happened was Damani beat John. Now, this was supposed to be the same situation would happen with Teofimo and the other 132-pounder that represented the U.S. They didn't do that, okay? Now, let's go further on to this year, their past Olympics, okay? We see now all Olympians that won in the Olympic trials didn't represent the USA.
Like Shushu Carrington.
Right, these guys didn't represent the USA. Why? Because, what? Is USA boxing failing its athletes? Now, here we go. We know the process is the dream is to go from Junior Olympics all the way up to senior to youth bands in the efforts to what? To become an Olympian. So now these kids throughout their life, they done exactly that. They went in, they came up, and they won the Olympic trials. But they wasn't given a chance. Why? The four guys, the Olympians that represented the team, okay, they lost in the Olympic trials and they didn't win much anything else out there. So now, here you go, you have a 4-year process, developmental process, of taking your best athletes across the country, around the world, having them participate in all kind of tournaments, and the efforts of having them become better athletes, right? Because right now, at this point, they represent the best in the United States. Now, from what was happening in these tournaments, a lot of these wins that these people had on the team were very controversial because they weren't the highest point getters on the team. See, what happens in the process through these years, the athletes obtain points, so like 1 through 10 in the major tournaments, and 300, 200. So the athletes with the most points are supposed to be the ones that are the ones that's favored. It didn't happen in these cases. You had these here kids that weren't really, and the selection process is really what tainted it, because it wasn't actually a process that was awarded to the ones who deserved it and who obtained. It was awarded to the ones who they chose. Okay? Now, here we go. This 4-year developmental process where these athletes came in, right, and went out all around the country to get better, right? Now, the athletes who they allegedly had beat in these tournaments, they have to fight them again in the Olympic trials. Guess what happened? They lose. So what about the 40-year process where these athletes are out getting better? You understand? When now we're not even in international competition. We're in our major U.S. competition, and all of them lose. So where was the developmental process going for those athletes when here they supposed to have the best trainers, the best training and getting the best competition, and here the people in the United States come beat them in a major tournament. Now, what's whack now, with the failure of the process of failing them, why didn't they represent the U.S. in the Olympics?
You saying the same coaches from 2016?
No, the coaches 2016. I'm telling you, and the fighters will say the 2016 coaches and the fighters on that team. Those coaches that were on the 20 team had nothing to really. They didn't train them. We trained those kids. The Charles Cromwells, the Shakurs, and all those guys. They were trained by us. Okay, they didn't do anything with them. Okay, because Shakur had already won everything in Puerto Rico. He had already won the Juice Men's Olympic gold. Okay, when I left. Okay, so he had won everything to qualify for him in the Olympics. So there was no process with that. Their job came with that following team. That's the team that lost. Okay, all of them lost except for one, Keyshawn, in the Olympic trials. But those kids, by right, now did USA Boxing fail those kids because they won the Olympic trials, so they should have been the ones representing the U.S. Olympic team. They were the winners. Am I right or wrong? Now, let's think about it.
They won. They deserved it right. They
so now
earned it.
Why didn't they go? Because it would have proved that the USA boxing system was a failure. So they couldn't have that. So they sent those Olympians rather than the ones that deserved to be there. So let's say, is USA boxing failing our athletes?
What do you think has to change? What needs to be done?
Well, let me say this to America and every pro or athlete out here. When it comes down to coaching and you selecting coaches, ask for a resume. Get a resume. If a coach doesn't have a valid, legitimate resume, if he tells you he trained this person, he trained that person, a lot of the shit is lies. You got so many coaches going out here that's coaching and saying things that they've never done in their life. You know, I see coaches right now, that have never won things in their life, and now people, you know, think they are a top coach. You know what I mean? But if people only look at their resume and look at the history of what they've done and the pros, you wouldn't make this mistake. I tell every mother, every father, every coach, okay, everybody that has aspiration of being a professional fighter or athlete, check out your coach's resume, okay? Because his resume and his boxing history will tell everything about him, okay? If you do that, you won't make those mistakes. You won't come up with these fake coaches or whatnot. See, like me, for instance, okay, I won a lot of awards in boxing throughout the country. I won a lot of awards with USA Boxing and Team USA, okay? But it's only 2 awards that I hold prestigious in my life. Okay, they were 2 outstanding coaches awards, right? I throw all the Guerrero awards, everything out the window, and keep these 2. What it was a selection of coaches. Well, when they select the coaches, you get picked from your peers. Okay, all right. You can't vote for yourself. You have to vote for another coach. Twice I won that tournament, you know, and it really gave me, you know, them chills and whatnot because. From the respect of my peers, you know, I said, here it is. Man, these guys, man, voted for me, you know, 2 years, 1 year, then another year, you know. That's saying something, you know, coming from it. So what I say, most coaches respect other coaches, and they give respect, okay? You'll see that your most valid and legitimate coaches that have most success have been successful from the beginning to the end. You can't take a coach who's lost all his life, right, and never really done nothing, and you're going to mount and make him a super coach. Right? And the situations, man, I done seen. So I went to the barbershop one time in Colorado, right, and this guy asked me, he said, yo, man, he said, how's your son doing? So I'm saying, I sat back and said, my son never been to Colorado. So he said to me, the guy been training your son since he was 5 years old. My grandson was training my grandson since he was 5 years old. That was me, you know. So he says, you know, the dark-skinned guy. Like I said, I don't want to say no names, but everybody know what I'm talking about. When he said the dark-skinned guy, I said, so I mentioned the guy, and he said, yeah, that's him. He told you. He said he told you you've been training my grandson. So the lie starts, and well, that's a whole different thing. Y'all may have seen an interview that I done not too long about stop the lie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And, I don't want to get off you guys' subject, but what I just talked about.
No, get on that subject, because I know that you feel like there is a misconception out there as to who has trained Shakur and brought him to this point. And I know that you want to clear it up, and we want to give you the platform to do that. So, yeah, let us know.
What's so ironic about what we're talking about now is that you heard, what you just said about what we're talking about and what I just said, and that this person knows that the whole world does it, but he hasn't
addressed it.
No, he hasn't addressed it, but he has a partner with him, and I think it's in an effort, saying, how could some now? This is the most ironic thing, that I find out about it, all the stuff that we've accomplished, right, and I've accomplished in my life. How could a person like this here actually say that he trained my grandson when he has nowhere near the boxing? I don't want to bash nobody, but it's gotten to that point. I wish people would really check this guy's resume out.
But why haven't you had a conversation with him?
I had conversation with him. Do you know? He told me, he said he didn't say this. I have an article right here on my phone. Well, listen, I don't like at this hit time, this is a bad time. We got a big fight coming up.
Big fight.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, Pop. A few years ago, I was in Reno when you guys beat Joette and became featherweight champions of the world. And for that fight, that WBO title was held by Oscar Valdez. Shakur was his mandatory.
Right.
Oscar chose to vacate, move up. And now we got this unification on our hands Saturday night. Describe it. That was October 26, 2019. So describe it from October 26, 2019 to this point now, becoming world champion now a second time, now fighting for a unification and the ring belt. What's it been like, since becoming champion, a little over 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question because, I had a conversation with Shakur, prior to the last two fights. I said, Shakur, you're a world champion, and, most of your life you came up as a hunter, trying to get to the top. I said, now you had the target on your back. You're the hunted now. You understand? You're no longer the hunter. Everybody's coming for you. So with that being said, let me get it. So like last camp when we went into training, we know Shakur, was having a baby. His wife was pregnant and whatnot. So we went into camp. Shakur wasn't eating right, but he's a little heavy. And I say that point we went uphill and we quickly came downhill. So now at the end of the camp when we won the last fight, Shakur said to me, Papa, listen, man. He said, I'm going to be ready from now on. I'm not going to come to camp. He said, I'm going to eat right from now on. That's after we had the hunter and hunter conversation. He said, it's not going to be like, so this camp, he came in at the top of the hill. And he was picking up momentum going down hill all through camp, getting better and better. His sustainability in terms of his performance has been excellent. He's really exerted himself at all high impact levels where everything has also been sustainable. He's pushed it. We boxed over 134-minute rounds, So we're more than ready, I like our chances. I like where we are right now. And I think the preparation has gone extremely well. Man, better than I can even hoped it could be.
I mean, Shakur looked phenomenal in Atlanta against Jamel. So if you're saying that this time he came into camp in even better shape, what can we expect out of Shakur against Oscar Saturday night?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to tell you the truth, I've seen some spectacular things from Shakur. And check it out. You guys haven't seen the best of him yet, so you're going to expect to see him at his very best, These are some of the things, it reminds me of the time when he won his first world championship. We were in Ukraine, and just so happened that tournament he had to beat, I think it was 2-1, because one was from Kazakhstan. He had to beat a former world champion from Kazakhstan, and he had to beat the present world champion, who at the time was a Ukrainian. And he went into that fight, just so composed, and, the similarities of this fight and that fight are so much the same. It's like, his mannerism, his attitude, and his effort has been like immaculate. So I'm looking at, us saying one of the best Shakurs we ever seen.
Now, you haven't trained Shakur all his life. Now that he is a father, which he became after the Jamel fight, what have you seen different in him now? Because I'm sure there's been a lot of maturation, a lot of, obviously you said a lot of more dedication and preparation and things like that. What have you personally seen, given that you've been with him his whole life?
It's real enlightening, and I'm glad you asked that, man, because I see the maturity in him now. I see him actually stepping up, like Shakur, let's make sure we this here, let's make sure you that, this here, in terms of preparation, we didn't have to do that. He on everything. He's on everything. I've seen times when we were cutting weight, he may look a little fatigued. Man, this cutting weight process, this is scary. He looks so good and so sharp. And, like I said, the sustainability through every aspect of his training has been phenomenal, man. It's, oh my God. I mean, his recovery from when he exerts his energy, his recovery, his heart rate's dropped down. So, we're going to see a machine out there.
Last year, we saw Oscar Valdez in a spectacular knockout performance against Miguel Berchelt. And then he's in the lead up to his fight against Robson Cancio, and he pops out. WBC chooses to allow the fight to take place, allow him to defend his title. And Shakur brings that up when they have their sit down, and he tells him, he's like, don't cheat me. I just want a clean, fair fight. Don't cheat. Are you guys happy with the way the testing and anything else involved with that has gone about for this fight? Are you guys everybody's happy as far as that is concerned, as far as testing and everything?
Well, we can't say for Oscar Valdez, right? But Shakur has always insisted on being tested because he wanted to show that he's a legitimate athlete. Now, another part of your question in regards to the Miguel Berchelt and Oscar performance against Berchelt, not taking any respect from the coaches or the fighters or anything like that, but that was an easy fight to game for. The kid didn't have no defense. Every time he punched, he dropped his hand, punch like this, chin is up in the air. All you gotta do is just make him miss and make him pay.
Last summer, Shakur fights Jeremiah Nakatilia, outclasses him. Beautiful boxing performance, but it's heavily criticized. And Tim Bradley is on record, and Shakur comes out and puts on a spectacular performance against Jamel. That same Nakatilia goes on to beat this Berchelt not that long ago. Could we expect a similar Shakur than what we saw back in October against Jamel Herring?
Well, let me address this first before I answer that. Okay, if you look at the Nakatilia fight, we saw a great Shakur Stevenson. We saw what he done to Berchelt, right? He couldn't touch Shakur. Something wrong with that? Why did Timothy Bradley feel like getting hit a lot is better than not getting hit? So it depends on who looking at it. Tim Bradley didn't mind getting hit.
You say that because of the Ruslan Provatnikov fight?
Yeah, no. Just look at it. Let's look at it like this here. Now we know getting hit in boxing, we call it, put you in the NFL. In other words, you won't be in boxing not for long. Okay. So now, when you have the fighters up there that are getting hit and taking a lot of the punches, I'm gonna give you an example. Now, we were talking about the Olympic and the teams that we had. We also had Erickson Lubin down there, Hammer, right? Now, we thought everybody Hammer was a great fighter, but look, man, stupid is as stupid does, man. You don't let nobody punch on you. I want to tell this to the public too, man. If a coach ever tell you to put your hands up over like this, to walk in and go ahead and punch, you run your ass away from that coach fast as you can, because that's not a coach and that's not defense. Okay, boxing is the art of hitting without getting hit. So,
Absolutely.
You know, I'd much rather, you know, me hit you than you hit me, you know, because I know if you hitting me, I'm hitting you. You can't be hitting me. You know what I'm saying? So I like it like that. Now, let's look at the Valdez part in terms of him, us, you know, fighting him. Now, his fight that he fought against Robinson Canseco, okay? Now, his performance against Canseco, everybody know he lost that fight. You can't say any way that he actually won that fight. Now,
I agree with you, Coach Pop. I agree with you. I said that the other day on the show. I thought at the worst it would have been a draw for Canseco.
Right. Now, at 17 years old, we boxed Canseco in Brazil, in his country, whooped his ass. Okay? Canseco came stateside. We sparred him again. Guess what happened? Whooped his ass. You know, that was easy. And you see, you know, not judging on the performance again, and two different individuals, but looking how easy, you know, he executed, Canseco executed his game plan, and he was able to hit him, and Oscar had a hard time catching up to Canseco, you know. I really feel that, you know, when we fight him, when we fight Oscar, you know, it's going to be two different levels in the ring. Oscar's here, we here. And Shakur's going out to prove that. Shakur told him that he can't beat him, right? He know he can't beat him. He told him about the steroids. When the steroids, let's look at this here part of it. When Oscar said that, you know, why would I take something to help me cut weight knowing it's illegal? Okay, that's admitting you're a cheater. Okay, why are you taking something to help you cut weight? No, boxers cut weight the right way. We don't take supplements to help us cut weight. So that's admitting that he's a cheater, that he needed a supplement to help him cut weight. He said that out of his mouth, right? Did he say, why would I take a substance that cut weight, help me cut weight, knowing it was bad? Why was you taking a substance to help you cut weight, period? Boxers don't do that. Y'all ever heard that before? Mm-hmm. When you box, did you ever hear anything, take a supplement to cut weight, other than water? So that's admitting blatantly that he cheated. He can't take that. That's out of his mouth. He said he used a supplement to help him cut weight, and he didn't know it was on the ban list. Okay, you're wrong, Oscar. You took a supplement to help you do the thing that people do naturally. Okay, that shows he's a cheater.
But there's no but
there are supplements that are not banned or on the banned substance list.
Okay, what's the best way to do it? Do you think
natural? Obviously,
naturally. So what is the way to do it? Do you think the supplement to gain weight is going to make you a better athlete, or is the supplement going to help you train better to make you an athlete? You understand? So now his biggest fall is when he don't have them, he can't use it. Mm-hmm. That's going to catch up to his body.
Well, I want to get a screen share here because obviously this has been going around a lot, and it's exactly what we're talking about, where your grandson is obviously
have a better chance to fight me then. Now I'm bigger, I'm stronger, I'm better. Now he fighting the right Shakur.
I'm in great shape. I'm in great shape right now.
That's
so
cool.
It's just perfect.
Okay.
Love it, man.
Yeah, me
I love
too.
the fact that we're making this fight for the fans.
Me too. Just make sure you're not cheating. Make sure there's no cheating going on, my boy.
Don't worry about me cheating.
Hey, man, I seen it, you know. I'm just saying, don't cheat me,
worry,
my boy. I don't like cheaters, man.
I've never cheated in my life.
So let's just make sure it don't
Look at
happen
his face.
again.
Look at his face. See, it's getting to him,
So this is his manager, and by his I mean Oscar Valdez at the top. Show it one more time so we can see the message that he has there. Is I love how they edited Oscar Valdez immediate response. And you don't put hands on a woman. Come on, show the whole thing. So his manager is saying that when Shakur told him, don't be dirty, don't take anything, don't cheat, that he's allegedly saying that Oscar fired back and said, well, you don't put hands on a woman. Were you present? Did you hear that? Is this true, or is his manager capping?
Right. Well, his manager's capping. Everybody know that when that shit happened, Shakur wasn't the one that hit that girl. Everybody's saying that. That was very obvious. The tape was on there, so they reaching right now. You know, we don't have nothing to be ashamed about, especially when it comes to boxing. I think Shakur made it pretty clear how he felt about Oscar. It's not any hate. Shakur just felt, I'm the better athlete. You can't beat me. You know, when you put two people in, it's only one going to come out the winner.
Do you feel that this fight was, it avoided Shakur?
I believe if they could have avoided Shakur, they would have. You know
Do you think they avoided him? And they, I mean Valdez and his team at 126.
Of course, of course. You know, like, know what he said? Now, this goes to show. He said, Shakur wasn't a big enough star then. Shakur's a big star to you. You was in the Olympics, right? You didn't medal. He didn't medal. You understand? So Shakur came into the pros a bigger star than he was. So who's to say he's not a star? He's a world champion, okay? And having his name on Oscar resume would have done great for him. But he didn't want to take that chance. Now, if it was us, you know, we coming up with that smoke. Shakur called him out. You know, it's not because he's Oscar Valdez. You know what I mean? No, I got respect for him as a person, but Oscar Valdez is just a person that happens to have that belt. You know, and we don't see him any other way than another person that's holding that belt, you know. And it comes to skill set, you know, it'll speak for itself.
So once Shakur won the vacated 126 WBO that Valdez vacated to move up to 130, he then turned his attention to Warrington. The fight couldn't be made. It seemed like Shakur wanted to go to Leeds.
Right.
I don't know. We don't know the details as to why it didn't happen, but why did you, as the trainer, were you ever interested in the Gary Russell fight as a unification?
Well, that never even came about as a unification because Gary, you know, we don't have a problem fighting him either. You know, we went to his gym, sparred his brother and whatnot. You know, we don't have a problem fighting anybody. So that never came up. You know, I know one before we were going, Shakur was going at Oscar. He was going trying to get the Josh Warrington fight, you know, and neither one manifested. So, you know, we went after the things that we can closely obtain, and that being the Oscar Valdez fight. We knew he was on the radar. We knew we was in front of him. We knew we was targeting him, so we went after him.
Pop, yesterday when we was talking about this fight, we were asking.
I want to actually stay on that. Do you, obviously, Russell has lost at this point, doesn't have that WBC title, but he has interviews where he's called Shakur Shorty and basically says Shorty don't want no smoke. Is that a fight that would need a title on the line to revisit it? Obviously, he's also been hurt in the Masiago fight. What's your thoughts on Gary Russell as a fighter, and is that something that you see your nephew ever...
Grandson.
Yeah, grandson. Do you ever see your grandson fighting Gary Russell Jr.?
If he can get up here, you know, he's another man. He put his pants on just like we do. But, you know, like I said, we went there, we sparred his brother, you know. I think if he really wanted some smoke, he would have said something then. But, you know, talk is, you know, cheap. Everybody say one thing, you know, and they talk. But, hey, man, all you got to do is just dial a number and say, we want to fight. Let's make it happen. You know, they don't say that. They talk that talk. But, you know, you got to walk the walk, man. You know, right now you got 2 losses.
Speaking of talking the talk, Andre Cortez came up in here. They was talking some talk. They said they sent the Shakur team home mad that Shakur wants to spar him, and they're no one's sparring partner. No. And they got in the ring with a team member of Shakur, and you know, he sent them home mad.
Sent him home mad. Oh, I heard about that, man. This guy lying. I mean, you guys know me. I don't pay no kids like that no attention, man. I heard he said something about
90 seconds.
But, you know, I rarely do interviews, man. You guys got me on, and I'm in to stay in the background because I'm not a big talker. I wanted to do the walker, you know what I'm saying? So, this guy, I wish he would. I mean, I think that was really exaggerated, because it wasn't nothing like what he said. I didn't see anything like that going on, I think it was highly exaggerated. Man, I think that's the same guy that sent to Shakur, yo, we want Stevenson tomorrow, right? Then another text the next day talking about April Fool. So you know that.
Yo, wait, his brother text that Louis?
Yeah, they text that. Then they talking about April Fools.
So, they got jokes.
That lets you know where they at. That they don't want that smoke.
There's a video though that we could hear Shakur wanting to get some work with Andres Cortez.
Right. I'm telling you no lie, Shakur. Just like, okay, let me tell you about the one time. I was home, and next thing you know, Shakur was in Virginia. Then Shakur pops up to my house, say, "Pop up, let's go." Where we going? We going to spar. So we go to Bergen PAL, and we get in there. I said, "Who we sparring? You gonna see Pop up? I'm gonna whoop his ass."
Bergen, North Bergen?
Yeah, New Jersey.
Damn, from Virginia, he showed up to Virginia and made you go all the way to North Jersey.
Yeah. With, the Don Somerville gym. Okay, we get in there. I look over there. It's B-Hop. I said, Shakur, you brought me here to spar this motherfucker?
Oh, Chris Colbert?
Yeah, this motherfucker.
It's about to get good.
You gotta play him. You gotta play him that soundbite. Hold on, Pop Out. So we had Shakur and Chris Colbert on the show a couple months ago,
right?
And they got into it.
They got into it, and this is part of.
I know my body. Yeah, I know Shakur body. Shakur know my body.
So yeah, man, he was saying he was stepping to Shakur. Shakur was like, "No, you wasn't."
Oh, listen, let me tell you. Listen, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Everybody know I don't lie.
They can't hear you. You gotta talk to the mic, Pop Out.
The first time, the first time, let me stop. The first time Shakur whooped his ass, right?
Oh shit.
We was in ringside, right? He was talking all this shit. To
Jersey
everybody.
City?
No, we was in Kansas City.
Okay.
We was in ringside. He's talking all this big shit, So Shakur said, "What? Let's go." So they went outside, put the glove. Shakur whooped his ass.
Wait, they went outside.
Shakur whooped his ass. Okay. Then the next day he fought, this little nigga came in there, broke his fucking nose, and knocked him out the tournament. Okay. And let's get back to the
North
Bergen. So I get in there and see Don Villman. I see with Chris Colbert. I said, "Man, we couldn't spar this motherfucker. You know this motherfucker scared as hell." Anyway, okay, mind you. We start sparring. First round, Shakur chasing this motherfucker, hitting him, pow, pow. So I hitting this motherfucker. Second round, Shakur hit this motherfucker, right? I swear to God, man. Ever since Shakur, you see how he was running that fight? Shakur had to stop, stand up, yo. Man, what you gonna do, man? You gonna come fight or what, man? What you gonna do? Come on, man. And the whole he right, Shakur said, "Fuck this, I ain't coming, you bitch ass nigga."
Well, damn.
Yeah, he hit in the ring. We standing here. He talking all that shit. And you see, listen, no, the night he fought that fight and he got beat. Y'all know what Harley Diago called me. My man called me from New York. He said, "Wali, you see that bitch ass nigga? Why you telling him bitch ass?" Everybody, we know what's gonna come out. We know what's gonna come. We know that nigga. Yeah, that's him, man. So he always been a lot of talk, man. Look, let me give it to you point blank. We grew up in the same region, right? Same region.
Mm-hmm.
Shakur done fought everybody over there. He keep whizzing past, up and down past Shakur weight class all his fucking life. We done fought Shushu, we done fought Hans, we done fought Josue Vargas, we done fought all them dudes from New York, okay? But him. Why is it? If he wanted that smoke, their kids coming up. Let me take Shakur. Mm-hmm. We try to get him. He don't want that smoke.
They said Papa don't give a fuck about no mic.
He's gonna say what he gotta say.
See, look,
if you hear it, it's meant for you to hear. If you don't, it wasn't meant for you to hear.
It's one thing they could say. Most of the athletes in the country, right? They could say, "I've been there." I've been there around their careers and been there because I've been there. You know, I understand most of the fighters in the country, okay, all right, that was at the elite level. You know, like Chris Colbert, you know, he was okay, so. But he's more talk than walk.
You think he'll become a world champ?
No. No.
He still got a lot left. He's young.
Was he ever number one in the country? Besides a JO tournament for a short time? He win it, and then somebody overtake him. He win the tournament, then somebody with the point systems.
Right.
So he never was that. Never. You know how my man never had. You know how Cedric and the tanks said never had that. Just never had that to get you over the top.
So what about Tank? He got the to get him over the.
Tank got the See, because Tank traveled with us when he was a kid. I know Tank since he was a kid, and Coach Calvin. You know, Calvin and us, we literally came up in the trenches, like where a lot of them other niggas wasn't in. Excuse my friend.
You good?
A lot of them other people wasn't in the trenches, man. I'm gonna tell you, Tank was this kind of fighter. Yo, Tank fighting. Everybody in the arena gonna go see Tank fight. You know what I'm saying? That's how Tank was.
Why you think it took so long for him to get signed? Because I don't know if you know, but he was what? Danny's the almanac. How many fights did he have before he signed to Mayweather?
He was already in double digits.
Yeah.
Well, the same thing with Tank is everybody in boxing know Tank, but none of the boxers and professionals know him through Tank because he didn't go that Olympic route and get the notoriety and whatnot, even though he won a lot of national and was one of the best fighters in the country. But he just didn't give a fuck that. Because one thing, Calvin and them knew what they had. You know what I'm saying? They said, hey, if we got to go the long route, we're going to go the long route. If we got to go our way, we're going to go with it because they know they had something that's going to get them there to the promised land.
Who do you see as that future? We always compare, like, we say Oscar was like the turning point for Floyd. Like after Oscar, Floyd was never the B-side again. You know, his career took off to different heights. Who do you think is that fight for Shakur? Like in the future, do you think it's a Gervonta? Do you think it's a Devin Haney? Do you think it's somebody else?
Do you think it's this fight with Valdez? Is this the fight that makes him a superstar the way he believes? He's quoted saying after this fight he'll become a superstar in boxing.
Or does it depend on how he beats Valdez that could make him a superstar?
Right. And he's looking at it, beating him the best way he could. Okay? And I don't think this would actually make him a superstar because, you know, you could say I'm biased, you know, but he already is a superstar. Look, no other fighter in the world, American male fighter, has ever won an AIBA Boxer of the Year one. He's the only one done that, okay? He's been undefeated, haven't lost a round internationally, 18 fights in a row. Never lost a round. Who does that, okay? We rarely lost one round now in 17 fights, right? I think they got us maybe.
They got you with 4 rounds lost in 17 fights.
So, now look. Those numbers are great numbers. We'll take those numbers all day. So, you know, right now, I think he's embarking on making a lot of history. You know, like I said, he's the team leader of the only team that ever won a world team title. You know what I'm saying? So, everything now, he won his first title at 18, 17. You know, his third fight. So 13th fight. So. Let's look, you know, he's doing a lot of things right now that, you know, I really can keep, that I would like him to focus on rather than everything else, you know, because, you know, a lot of times I tell people, everybody going to say this about it, you're going to hear most of the bad things from everybody else, but every now and then, man, you take time and give yourself a pat on the back and congratulate yourself because, hey, you're not going to hear nothing from anything good from out there from you because, hey, everybody, a lot of people are haters, you know. Most of your appreciative fans and real boxing fans will show you their appreciation by showing up at your fights. And right now, we have people showing up at your fights. So now, you know, people really appreciate what you're doing for boxing. So what I asked him to do is just be too good to boxing as boxing has been to him. Be good to people as people have been good to him. I tell him, man, to whom much is given, much is asked. So you got to be there to answer those questions when people ask them, whether it's help or whether it's to do this here, whatever. are for you to be who you are and continue to be who you are and to better yourself and your life and your community. So,
Coach, so I wanted to ask, because there is a rumor out there that Andre Ward was removed from the managerial position because he could be held to as the person of fault in the Warrington negotiations, that he was insisting on Shakur asking for more money. Is there any truth to that? And what do you know about those negotiations falling apart?
Well, those internal things we don't like to talk about, but, you know, those things are like private and personal matters, you know. They're really in-house, you know what I mean? And, you know, Andre Ward is one of Shakur's mentors, so, you know, they have a great ongoing relationship till today, you know, so that's the one thing we look for him, you know, his mentorship, you know, his guidance and his experience in the business.
We got another one kind of on that same subject. Diallo sends a $10 super chat. He says, 2 years ago, Shakur was calling out Burchell. At that time, it seemed like Andre Ward didn't think Shakur was ready for that fight. Do you wish that fight would have happened before Oscar Valdez fought Burchell?
Well, you know something, see, you know, no disrespect, but Andre Ward is another one that got lost in that hysteria, thinking that certain people was, you know, in charge and running Shakur. So, you know, I don't know what Andre Ward heard from them outsiders of our team, you know, but he, you know, this is something that I'm really just hearing about, you know, and really can't elaborate on it. And, you know, in terms of the relationship, you know, like I said, now we have a nice, close in-house family. You guys see that now most of the people that are around Shakur are his personal friends that grew up with him his life, and they're athletes and boxers as well. So we try to keep everything around him, keep him safe, you know, from hearing all that crazy-ass shit, you know, keeping people, having you guys like yourself come over and visit us, man. And
I do want to say, I appreciate you being welcome and things like that, especially on fight week.
Right.
There's a lot of important stuff going on with y'all.
Right.
And to let somebody like myself who just arriving in Vegas, trying to just get established and things, to come in, welcoming, I appreciate that.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. You know, you guys called me, man, you know. I was in the bed, and they said, yo, you got the interview. I said, well, okay. I said, all right, get up, you know, to do it, you know.
Let's go.
Because, like I said, when it comes to us, you know, if we don't do for each other, nobody will.
That's a fact.
We got, you know, we are biggest, biggest
support system.
You know what I'm saying?
We all we got.
It got to be a must, because if we don't do it for ourselves, nobody's going to do it for us.
I'm going to give you applause for that.
Right, yeah.
I got a few from the people before we let you go. We got James Valdez all the way in San Antonio, Texas. He says, with Valdez's style, will this fight go the distance?
You know, listen, you know, anything can happen. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest with you. We really prepared for his style. And the success that we've been having in camp, listen, don't be surprised if it doesn't go the distance. Okay.
And I think people were surprised that the Jamel fight didn't go the distance. So maybe they'll be smarter this time around when it comes to betting. We got King Amin of Essex, actually from New Jersey, Newark, New Jersey, of all places. Good morning, sir, and thank you for helping the world become exposed to and for also representing Newark, New Jersey to the entire world. Tell us a little bit about the recent history of fighters to come out of Newark, as well as one of the greatest ones that never made it.
Well, you know, believe it or not.
Oh! Watch his head. We got
He said no. He said no wonder.
Yeah. You know, it's sad that, you know, a lot of the fighters in Newark actually left their fights in the gym. You know, they used to have so many
wars in the gym?
Yeah.
What you talking about? What is it? Bread Brick days?
Brick, 8th Street, you name it, man. At every gym in Newark, man. You know, where there was some action going on, dewdrop, you know, people were fighting. And, you know, sometimes you can go in the gym, every day you go in there, you will see the same people in the ring sparring, you know, and you know, through a lot of things, you know, the best fighters that come out are the ones that actually made it to the top. You know, I started doing some history, some research when Shakur won his first title, and come to find out there were some people who won titles in Newark and fought in the old Rupert Stadium back here, you know, where the old Negro leagues used to play back in the days. So there was another, I forget his name, that won champions. He was considered one of the best in the days until Marvin Hagler. Okay, then you had Reggie Jones, all right, okay. You had even one time, the kid was pretty good, was my big man, what's his name, knocked out David Tour.
No.
Ike Garibucci?
Yeah,
But he went from North.
Yeah.
No.
Was he?
No.
Michael Grant. Who else we got from?
Monty
Net.
Barrett?
Monty, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
not
just naming
Monty,
people from the era.
the other one. Damn, I can't think of it.
Montel Grip. Nah, he was
Chicago.
Oh, no.
I'm just naming people from the era.
Maurice Harris.
More, I would have never
Mo
guessed
Harris,
that.
yeah.
Mo Harris.
Yeah. He was good. Remember, Mo was like 20 and something old now. You know, at one time, and now, you know, his losses caught up to his record, you know, he's older, but he was a highly touted prospect right around the time when he beat David Tour. You had Wali Muhammad. He was a great fighter. And like I said, everybody know Reggie Jones, Olympian. Okay, you throw Shakur up in there. Now, you have a couple of fighters that are making a little bit of noise in Newark. You had the John Thompsons, but you know, he, you know, faded quickly. You got another kid who I trained all his life now from what is it, Roseland, New Jersey, Vito Milnicki. He's fighting with
From Roseland?
Yeah, the little Vito. I trained him since he was 7 years old. Now he's with the guy named?
John Goosen?
Joe
Goosen.
Yeah. Had him, that little kid.
Wait, because I did see you at Glenn Tapia's gym with Villanecki, but I didn't know. Why did you stop training him? What happened?
His father, you know, and bad things. Since then, in the amateurs, like Vito ain't won shit since. He stopped training him, man, and he was a hell of an athlete, man. He was a highly touted athlete, and you know, to a lot of degree, now I don't see the hands, feet, and the things that he used to do still the same. You know, to me, you know, he's regressed a bit. You know, I see.
Did you expect him to lose that fight?
Well,
obviously not, right?
Listen, I don't want him to lose, but you know, I'm gonna be honest. See, I don't like to kick any coaches back then, but I think I like to term it as some coaches are more effective than other coaches, you know, and you know, when it come down to this here game, you know, it's no way that you're gonna go into big fights with an inexperienced coach or a coach that's been faking it or a coach, you know, put in a situation that he has to adapt to, and he's never had that experience to do it. You know, you put in to me, you know, the parents and they putting their athlete's life on the line when they do that. You know, especially when you have a coach that's put in a position and you're at a high level where the physicality is going to be at the maximum level. You know what I mean? Where you're going to get hurt. It's not you just putting a kid in there with a kid somewhere he can build his record up and beat up. But when you put a kid in there at this here level and he hasn't had that experience of getting hit with the headgear, knowing how to close all the doors inside, knowing how to stay tight and all that stuff, you're going to get hurt. You know, and that happens with most of a lot of the young athletes, especially in places like Newark and, you know, and around the world, because when you see, I see now coaches that don't have winning experience. You know, you have experience, you know, in coaching, but you see, the difference in coaching is winning and losing. So you can have all the coaching in 40 years, but you've been coaching losing. So that doesn't make you effective, okay? So now, when you become effective, your coaching criteria takes you to a new standard. You become what you call a winning coach now. So now winning coaches get notarized all over the country because they participate. We participate with each other, and we know each other. Yo, bro, you great job. You have great athletes. Losing coaches participate with losing coaches. They don't get to that level, okay? And what they do is try to steal glory and fight as some other coaches and take their glory. You understand? I met one coach, right? I don't mention no name, but I mention the fighter name. And when I met him, and Anton Douglas, he told me, like he said, you know, I met the coach. The coach told me I've been training him since he was 12 years old, right? So I believed it, you know. So
I believed it.
you know, so I go to Barry Hunter, you know, and see Barry Hunter. Barry Hunter and Boog and them told me, you know, it's a whole different story. We trained that kid. So this is where the lie started. This is the first time I heard the lie. You dig what I'm saying? This is the first time I heard the lie because later on the lie went to Shakur, about Shakur. He trained Shakur since he was 5 years old and whatnot and all this shit, crazy shit.
But obviously you couldn't believe that because you knew you've been the one training them.
There's an article in 2020 on ESPN.com that says he first met Shakur at 13.
Yeah, that's the shit I'm talking about. You see, he met, so he didn't meet Shakur. He seen Shakur, and what happened was, every year this guy would come up. Shakur ain't shit. This ain't all that. He bring Keyshawn Williams. He bring Troy. He bring all. Shakur had beat all of them, and this is the same thing got his head up his ass 100%. You get what I'm saying? And this is what really disgraced me back in those days. When you tell my grandson ain't this and ain't all that. Now, without my grandson and me, you wouldn't be where you at. You understand? Okay? And your shit ain't legitimate. If a motherfucker check that record, you will see who the fuck it is. That shit you can't hide.
Now how is this? Does this affect Shakur? Because the both of you guys are still in the corner.
No. You know, he's on the side. You know,
you in the ring.
No, yeah, and I have my man Jack Edwards. Like the last 6, 7, 8 fights. So you guys seen it. He hasn't participated in our camp at all. Because if you're not going to be no help, you're not going to be a hindrance. Okay. At my point, he's Shakur's friend. You know, and you know, out of all the things that happen, you know, in terms of boxing, you know, I can get along with him, but I don't have no respect for him. I let that make work because, you know, when you go around telling people, like, see, right now, before, it was just me and Shakur. Now we have a corporation, okay? Now the stuff that you say and stuff out here do now affects our corporation and legacy, you know? If everybody look at a resume, like I said, there's things that are going on about people that people don't know. And, you know, if they found out about these here things, then, you know, a lot of people shouldn't and wouldn't be where they are now. You understand? So, you know, I don't kick nobody back in. I don't say that. But I do speak my mind, you know, when things offend me, you know, like, you know, I can speak about it personally if you want to hear the personal.
I want to actually stick on this topic because, I mean, the article states that Shakur went to Alexandria, Virginia at the age of 13, but you didn't come. So is that also being falsely quoted?
That is the biggest lie in America, okay? Okay? That's some more shit he conceived up, okay? We sent Shakur to Virginia after we won the world champions, after we won the youth men's Olympic gold. I mean, the world champion, the worlds, okay? That's when we sent Shakur down there, okay? Now,
let me just read this for you because it says, after Shakur spent a few years honing his skills with Kimura, am I saying that right?
Karoma.
He prepared him to relocate to the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Training Center in Colorado Springs, Colorado, to begin his training for the 2016 Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro.
Now, how could that be true when 2011 I was the team coach? It can't be nowhere near true. He didn't even know Shakur. That's the article that we were really taught. That's the big lie that started the article. Okay, and guess what? Do you know he said he didn't say that? I can have it on my phone. That's the article.
But coach, do you think he could be telling the truth? Because I'll be honest with you, man. I met.
Oh, wait. Who could be telling the truth?
No. Not the truth about the story. The truth about him never saying it. And the only reason I say this is what year was the Tank Tevin stuff at MGM?
That was 2017.
So in 2017, I met K and Shakur in that casino, and
What's the casino? The Nationals.
Yeah,
MGM
National Harbor.
The Harbor. It was a fight. They was just there visiting, and from that day till present day, K don't really do interviews. So maybe because of this article, I'm just saying maybe because of this article and the fact that he feels he got misquoted or his words were taken out of context, maybe he stopped doing interviews altogether.
Well, listen. That reporter, I called that reporter. No, first. My daughter called that reporter. And guess what? My daughter, I'm trying to find an article right here. You know what?
This reporter says Ricky I never heard of this person, but it's March 10, 2020. And it says Ricky is the first name. I can't pronounce that last name.
Ricky Sumfalfhakti.
Sumfalfhakti.
Never heard of that guy.
Never, but he made it to ESPN with this article.
Yo, I have that article where the reporter, he argued with my daughter saying that's a lie. He said, because he didn't even know my grandson then. That's how big a lie it is. He did not even know my grandson then. You understand? And when his grandson was 13 years old, remember I told you about how he would bring Keisha on and all that? That's after 14 and 15 years old when he started seeing Shakur with me. Because he's the same one that says Shakur ain't this and Shakur ain't all that. But now you see he got his head up his ass. Oh, yeah.
So, have you ever had any interactions with Bill Haney?
Bill? Yes, man. I trained Devin. That's my boy, man. I had Devin for Devin was with me with a USA team. Devin went to 2 world championships with me. See, this is when you talk about the other fighters, I give Devin the props over them all because Devin is the only one had the nerve to go internationally and get on a team and go fight. I coached them in the World Team Tournament and then on the Worlds. So now, we had one of the best teams because you look from that 2012 to 2016 team, we had Devin, we had Hammer, we had some of them told pro. Because once I left and they got him in, you'll find out, man, listen, bro, you see, this thing is so bad, man, that, when certain people was around, that certain fighters will not even have their people around. Like Top Rank now, you got so many people who would love to sign with Top Rank, but they don't want their fighters around certain people because they done the same shit when they was in Team USA. They fucked them then.
And by fuck, you mean still in the fighter?
No, not still. What I mean by getting the fighters that should be there, getting them selected on the team, the fighters that's not there. Like I told you, the point total fighters should have been the front runners on the team. But you got fighters that didn't win hardly shit made that team. You understand?
How does something like this happen and go unnoticed or no reports?
It is noticed. It's a report. If you see there are reporters out there that report on this stuff all the time, but they don't get to that, they downplay it. You know what I mean? Right now, you got people here that are banned from boxing. You understand? Still being involved in boxing and around kids.
So is it USA Boxing that needs to start policing in a sense?
Well, USA now needs to start to policing and forwarding their information to everybody else, to everywhere, to all boxers.
What do you mean? Explain. Forwarding what information?
Okay, just say, the history of boxers, what they do, what they accomplish, as well as coaches. I think.
So the reports that the coaches write need to be shared amongst all coaches.
Right. See, not only, I think like coaches, their history of what they've done should go along with what they say. And USA Boxing should record.
So you want a box rec for coaches so that people can see what their true accomplishments are.
Right, and who they really are. Okay? And who they really are. And who they really are. Whether you're a winning coach or you're a losing coach. That's what I want the world to know. You do that and we'll see. If you set that criteria.
But coach, like a fighter, he can lose and then come back and win. So a losing coach could be losing and learn something, or like work on his craft, and then become a winning coach? Can he not?
No. No.
Yo, he's like, no.
No.
Oh,
hey,
man.
Hey, you tell it to some of these NFL team owners or to a Major League Baseball team owners. Do they think a losing coach can be a winning coach? No. Their job is not. If they not winning, their job is short. Now, if a person is in USA Boxing, as a coach is in USA Boxing, okay, and if you have never trained one fighter from here all the way up to here, okay, then you are not a coach, okay? Who are you training? You're training people that already been trained by somebody else. If you don't have one fighter, every coach that been coaching over 10 years should have at least 40 to 50 fighters that they train if they're a good coach.
40 to 50 from the ground up?
From the ground up, if you're a good coach.
But they didn't all make it, though.
No, they didn't have to make it, but you had the experience of teaching and training that people. See, you can tell good coaches come with experience. The experience of training different athletes, many different athletes, learning different athletes, you learn different styles, so you learn different techniques how to reach people. See, the communication, a coach is supposed to be able to take an athlete's skills and enhance his skills, okay? You don't know, no. It's not the coach. The coach teaches the skills, but the coach makes the athlete better. Like me and Shakur. I taught Shakur everything also that I know. All this is good shit, all that shit, good shit, all that shit that ain't even in boxing. Man, him been doing that shit all his life. You know what I mean? Since he's a baby. Shakur ain't boxed me, box me more than he boxed anybody else, because we boxed for years, day in and day out, day in, day out, day in, day out. Would y'all stop playing, my wife? Would y'all go to bed? That kind of shit, So, when you go through those things and you learn those things and train that many people, you learn a variety of techniques. Like myself, I've been a student of boxing all my life, It was when I got to go up under Coach Pedro Roca from Cuba. This man has 7 sports science degrees, man. I mean, he really took my training to a whole nother level, and particularly on the sports science side, you know what I mean? Learning about heart rate, learning that once your heart rate gets over 115 beats per minute, you start to lose your fine motor skills and all that kind of shit. Learning how to cut weight and all that kind of shit. So,
Pop, I just want to say, Coach Dirt did text me and said you do have another interview.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we do want to wrap up. First of all, we want to say thank you. We know Fight Week.
Yes,
press
this
conference
is amazing.
today.
Thank you for setting the precedent to all these other trainers out there. Look, even on Fight Week, he came here and gave us some time. We appreciate
And
that
speaking of
more
trainers,
than ever.
Speaking of trainers, on BoxRec, it does have, just like you mentioned, you need a record for the trainers and coaches, but it got the commission on there, the promoter, matchmaker, doctors, the media, the judges. It
But
shows,
no trainer.
It show the managers, the referee, but it doesn't show the trainer or coach on none of it. It show everything else except that. So you got a great point there.
I want to leave everybody with this here. Everybody that's into boxing, right? That's into boxing. When it comes down to your trainer, demand his resume. Don't believe none of what he say and none of what you hear, because, hey, all that could be a lie too. Believe what you see that he have on record, what USA Boxers has on record, or what BoxRec have on record. Don't believe that God tell you he's a coach or he trained this guy, he trained that guy, because 9 times out of 10, half of them is lying. Thank you.
And it could be that's your child safety that you put
Coach,
in
are you
their
on
hands.
Instagram by any chance? Any social media?
Instagram. And and,
Which one? What's your Instagram?
I don't even know it. Man. I don't even know.
I've been trying to get it the whole time. I'm like, just put Shakur grandfather's
Well,
last
we're gonna go ahead
trainer.
and take
I think
this
it's Wali
picture.
Moses 1314 or something. I don't know.
Maybe Coach Dirt has
Hold on, I
text
think Coach Dirt texting me now.
That's
I
why
think
we
Coach
All right,
Dirt
we're gonna go
texting
ahead
me.
and take this intermission, take this picture with Coach Wali Moses,
Okay,
and
so
we'll be.
it's Moses Willie. So MOSESWILLIE. Moses Willie at Moses Willie. Saturday night MGM Grand
13-14, right?
Right.
It's 2 because I see
know one
Moses
of-
Willie 13-14. I see Moses, the real Moses Willie.
It's the one with all the ice on.
Moses. Let me
I don't
see.
know about that one.
13,
And
14?
they both followed by people I know. Machine follows you,
This-
which is from Passaic.
Yeah, this is the recent one, April 15th. So it's Moses Willie, 1314.
Yeah, 1314. All right.
But we will take intermission. Make sure Saturday night, Shakur Stevenson, Oscar Valdez, obviously. Pop, you'll be in the corner as always, and we look forward to a great fight, title unification fight. Ring magazine belt now on the line.
Oh wow, is this in City Hall?
Yeah, no, that's in the county. That's his county building.
Oh, okay.
He got the key to the county then. He got the key to the city and the key to the county.
And you last year were nominated to the New Jersey Boxing Hall of Fame, correct?
I was gonna ask this, and not to like add more salt to the wound, but do you think there'll be a trainer belt for this fight? Because usually unifications, they present obviously the trainer. They gave Derek James and a couple others the trainer's belt. Have you gotten one, and do you expect to receive it if Shakur wins on Saturday?
Have I ever got a trainer's belt?
Yeah, from the WBC.
Oh, no.
See, but this is the first time they fight
for
the
WBC.
But we know you gotta go,
up.
so thank you again. Make sure to tune in Saturday night. Stevenson Valdez on ESPN.
Yo, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.